This program contains graphic material, including offensive language. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's up? It's HOODX.com. Live. HOODX.com. It's your boy, K-Blao, HOODX. You already know what it is. Sign up for HOODX.com. Get your video aired. We national, we live. Ooh. Got the crown on, got the Thanos glove. HOODX on demand. Scroll through the videos, a whole bunch of videos on there. Figure out what you want to watch. Blow back, smoke, chill with your girl, make a booty call. You know what I'm saying? Do what you do. Sign up for HOODX.com. In the meanwhile, yeah, I'm about to go turn. Let's get back to the videos. Yeah, we back. It's HOODX Radio TV, HOODX On Demand, HOODX Television Network, HOODX everything, all HOODX. Let's HOODX everything. Sign up. What? You ain't on HOODX? Look, if you ain't signed up for HOODX by now, I don't know what to tell you. Get your video played nationwide. Get your song played internationally. Get the Thanos glove. I don't know if I'm going to keep Thanos glove, you know what I'm saying? But everything else is cool, you know what I'm saying? So if you ain't signed up for HOODX by now, get in tune. We're going to get back to the videos. HOODX, everything. Yeah. We live? Yes, sir. We back. HOODX Radio TV. HOODX On Demand. You got the time, space, the weed, oh wait, nah, look. Y'all know what this is for real? One of my fans sent this in, HOODX.com. You know what I'm saying? If anybody y'all got any fan mail, you know what I'm saying, you can hit me up. Sign up for HOODX.com, find me on that, K-Blao, HOODX. Send me any questions, any emails. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna read some emails. Are we gonna finally read some of the emails, some of the questions people got on the air? Is it still okay? They asked me not to tell y'all about that, but I'm gonna tell y'all anyway. We got some mail we gotta read online. It's coming soon. You know what I'm saying? So y'all stay tuned. Sign up for HOODX.com. If you got any questions, anything, hit me up. Find me on HOODX. Send me an email. They asked me not to hit on the microphone, but I don't care because I got the glove, man. Sign up for HOODX.com. Let's get back to the videos. HOODX On Demand. Yeah.
What up? It's your boy K-Blao, HOODX, back with another video for y'all. All of my siblings are water signs. You know what I'm saying? I put out a lot of content on this video shitting on water signs. You know what I'm saying? And if you ever want to know a big part of that, you look no further than my fucking siblings. You know what I'm saying? I love my siblings, obviously all brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want you to think that I'm out here like ranting like about how much I hate my brothers. I thought it's fucking sibling shit. It's like if you got a brother or sister, you know exactly, you know, the feeling I'm trying to describe. But I do want to say that me as an air sign, like I'm an Aquarius, you know what I'm saying? I got a brother that's a Scorpio, I got a brother that's a Pisces, and I got a sister that's a Cancer. You know what I'm saying? And I also have a stepbrother who's Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? Which was fucking perfect for exactly what I needed to see as far as like lore Aquarius traits. You know what I'm saying? Now, imagine me having, you know what I'm saying, 3 water sign siblings and then a lower evolved Aquarius brother. And then none of them not even studying astrology. Like, these motherfuckers don't, they think I'm crazy for studying astrology. You know what I'm saying? This is like, I just give you a snapshot, or it's like literally my life. You know what I'm saying? The thing that's important to my brothers and sisters is not important to me at all. And like everything that's important to me is not important to the motherfuckers at all. It's insane. And then like me knowing that I have the exact dialogue, and that like I know, like if you follow my channel, you know that I have the dialogue, the communication available. You know what I'm saying? There, and they're like, okay, if I truly was to approach one of my siblings, the level of understanding is going to be there on my part. You follow what I'm saying? When I approach my younger brother, my older brother, when I approach my sister, me as an Aquarius walking this planet for as long as I've been walking it, I've learned, especially looking at my stepbrother who's Aquarius, I've learned that like, okay, wait, something is not right here. There's some type of failure of communication here. And then like I'm gonna actually try to figure out what it is and approach it from that standpoint instead of just guessing, you know, what the problem is, especially on the intrinsic basis. Like something's bigger happening. You know what I'm saying? It's something in the stars. Something, just people is not the same. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to try to pay attention to detail and try to figure out, okay, like, why are we failing to have a communication? Why is there a failing communication? Me as Aquarius, unemotionally, emotionally unattached, emotionally detached. Knowing that I'm emotionally detached, realizing I have to be more sensitive to my siblings' emotions. You're going to get that dialogue. Because they're water signs and they don't understand it. They don't even follow astrology. Like, they don't even, it's like a foreign fucking language to them. It's like somebody who watched Star Trek trying to talk to people who watch Star Trek. Like, somebody who's a fucking banker trying to explain to somebody why they can't get their house approved. You know what I'm saying? They have literally no idea the key words that's associated with Aquarius. Like, I know, knowing it, like, we're about thoughts or more, but less emotional. Like, they don't have this dialogue. They missing that whole fucking vocabulary that come along with studying astrology and the signs, and, you know, they're not approaching me like this. You know what I'm saying? So, like, this is why, you know what I'm saying, I was gonna put out a video, believe it or not, called Astrology is Bullshit. Because it was like, here's a fucking air sign who has 3 fucking water sign siblings who knows all this shit about astrology, and it don't mean shit to them. This is why I talk about the Cassandra complex a lot on my page, and like Cassandra, who was a psychic who knew the future, but nobody would listen to her. This is literally what it's like being an Aquarius and having water siblings. Because I can't, like, my siblings don't even come on this page, you know what I'm saying, and follow the videos to try to even understand, like, you know, why I think the way I think, why I do the things I do. It's like to them, I'm just fucking yelling shit on the internet. You know what I'm saying? It's like I said, the things that's important to me, they don't even care. It's like strictly fucking emotion. And as time continues to play out, you know what I'm saying, we're becoming more set in our ways, you know, and I'm putting out content like you know what I'm saying, like this is like a journal to me. You follow what I'm saying? So, and like I said, a lot of times in my life, I know I feel like I'm talking to you. I'm talking to a computer. There's nobody in this room. It's like a journal. So it says we're becoming more set in our ways, you know, and I'm putting out, you know, content. I look at myself. I look at it. I'll be like, okay, well, am I tweaking? You know, if I didn't have this journal, you know, what would I really, if I didn't study astrology and I didn't have this journal, what type of person would I be? You know, and studying astrology, studying spirituality, metaphysics, comedics, you know, the Kabbalah, studying, you know, even things in the Bible, Christianity, Old Testament, New Testament. The lessons that I learned in these, you know, guides provide me so much clarity that I know for a fact if I didn't have them, I'll be dead or in jail. Because I don't think how water signs think at all. But I understand. And the fact that I understand and I'm still not even getting the benefit of the doubt, you know what I'm saying? When situations play out, it's like, man, I've stepped into your world. I've stepped into the emotional world. I've calmed myself down. I'm not hitting you with hard-edged facts that you can go find on my page. Just why they don't watch my page. Hard-edged facts, hard-edged truth. I've toned it down. You know what I'm saying? I'm not hollering. I'm not screaming. I'm speaking to you, you know what I'm saying, how you want to be spoken to. And then you still don't get to the logic. You still don't get to the point. You still don't get to, like, the forward move. This, like I said a lot of times, like, this is not a court of law. This is a court of emotions. This is not a fact-based conversation. This is an emotional-based conversation. I find myself saying this a lot with, you know what I'm saying, you know, water signs. And I know that, you know, I get my justice on this channel. I get the truth on this channel. And they're like, it's kind of like being Batman or like a superhero. And they're like, okay, we live in a fucking bullshit world where I got to kind of put this disguise on and walk through life. But just know that like on here, you get the real fucking K-Blao HOODX. You get the truth. You know, so like I said, if I didn't have this, I don't know how I would be able to fucking move through life. Like I don't, you know, this channel is really giving me a theory in life, and like I don't really have much to prove, you know, in day-to-day interactions with people, because like I know the truth. You know, so as far as in the third dimension, walking around talking to people, interacting with people, you know, the third dimensional victories don't hold as much weight in my heart as they used to, and they're like in the way that, you know, people who subscribe to my channel and the comments that they leave and the confirmations that I receive in this channel, like that gives me way more fulfillment than, you know, the third dimensional day-to-day shit, you know, sitting down eating, talking about mundane regular things. Like I'm not from that world, you know what I'm saying? So like I approach it kind of like playing fucking PlayStation 4, and they're like, it's a game, and they're like, okay, I'm literally had to create a whole other avatar for myself that I had to go into this avatar and interact with, like the fucking Matrix, for real. You know what I'm saying? And I just, the more I get more embedded in that thought, I see water sign people more and more, like I say, like cartoons, or more like a fucking program that's like controlled by forces that's like literally from another planet. And I'm just like literally playing a video game that's based on emotions. And they're like, the points in this video game are based on emotions, not logic. It took me fucking years before I realized this, and just watching the day-to-day actions of my fucking siblings. And they're like, man, stop and think. And they're like, you got an Aquarius child with 3 waters, every spectrum of water sign siblings. And ask yourself why you think the content on my page sound the way it sounds. And that like I'm got files after file after file after file after file after file, and people come and confirm the shit, you know. So you know, my perspective on this page is not just me ranting, talking shit. You know what I'm saying? It comes from real life instances. This is very difficult for people to see, and they're like, you're on that side of the screen, you're holding your phone looking at me, but I'm fucking physically sitting here, you know what I'm saying, as myself. And they're like, the things that propel me to come sit down in this chair and start talking into this fucking camera, you didn't experience them things. You know what I'm saying? But if you was an Aquarius and you had fucking 3 water sign siblings, you know what I'm saying, you had a water sign spouse, you had a water sign, you know, kids, you got most of the people that's coming to you telling you about their problems, your quote unquote friends, are water signs. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, you're gonna start to pick up on a very keen. You're gonna have a very keen perspective, you know, and you're gonna be able to put out content like this, you know. But you know, I'm not. This is just a thought on the internet, you know, me sitting there talking. But you know, in real life, it's not like, you know, I can literally, you know, once this video go off, my life in. I'm like, no, I keep going. Once this video stops, my life keeps going. So like, I'm in here. I'm in the Matrix. I'm in here playing the game. I'm down here on the planet playing the game. You know what I'm saying? Going through the day-to-day actions. You know, I asked to be here. You know, so I came here to learn this lesson. I'm learning this lesson. It's clear. You know what I'm saying? That I'm learning these lessons. I'm giving my report. You know what I'm saying? I'm approaching it with a level of understanding. But you know, this avatar, you know, this material, this page, you know, the logic that you can find, the jewels that you find on this page, it ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Eventually I'm gonna die. My body gonna break down. I'm gonna get old, crippled. I might go blind, go deaf. You know what I'm saying? Bones start breaking and cracking. You know, I already know this shit is coming. You know, but in the meanwhile, while I got this brain, you know what I'm saying, this is my chamber. And then like, you know, I know that this lives forever. This is what, you know, Comedians call it is, the was, and always will be. You know, even when I'm dead, people will be on the internet frantically searching for, you know, the things I said and research, because they still here. You know, these are the things that's important to me, you know. And the passion I used to share about these type of things with my siblings, it was never met at that, you know, at that same level. You know, it was always done just on an emotional experience. That's what I learned. And then like I've seen things from a long timeline where they kind of see experiences just, you know, from moment to moment. So, in the long timeline of things, you know, the content you find on this channel was my true passages, like my journal, and it was, you know, the feelings that I never got to really, you know, got to manifest in this third dimension. You know, it's a trick. The third dimension is tricky, man. The third dimension is very tricky. You know, so that's why I decided to master the fifth and sixth dimensions content you see on this channel. You see what I'm saying? So I appreciate everybody who do subscribe to this channel. If you are a water sign, you know what I'm saying, or if you you know what I'm saying, you wonder why I'm putting all this content on water sign. A lot of times, you know, it'd be just situations dealing with my, you know, my siblings, and you know what I'm saying. A lot of times I don't have no way to express, you know what I'm saying. And one thing that I do want to say very clear in here, you know what I'm saying, is that, like, yeah, my spouse is a water sign, you know, and I avoid putting content out. You know, believe it or not, like, very, very rarely do I put out content surrounding, you know, situations I get into with my wife, you know what I'm saying, my spouse. I very rare, like, even if you go back through the cancer videos, you go back through, you know, all of my videos. I'm not that type of person to jump on the internet and, you know what I'm saying, talk about, you know what I'm saying, negative shit that go on in my life with my spouse. You know what I'm saying? And even though a lot of the shit subconsciously do line up, like, I don't vent. You know what I'm saying? The shit I go through with my spouse, I don't vent that shit. You know what I'm saying? On this channel. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's cool at all. At all. You know what I'm saying? So, and also too, you want to know is that, like, a lot of the content on this page, it do come from requests as well. And that, like, the things that I've seen, and I'm only able to put it out if it's confirmed. Like, I don't put out shit that I read, you know what I'm saying, that I just read another book and I take it and put it out. It's like, no, if I haven't experienced that shit, I'm not gonna put it in the video. It has to be confirmed, you know. So yeah, that's just a little insight, like I said, on this channel. And if one of my brothers and sisters do come across this video, you so say, I will let y'all know that, what the fuck is you even doing on this channel anyway, motherfucker. Peace. You see that shit? I told you, motherfucker. I told you, motherfucker. I told you. If you're a water sign, you better watch your fucking mouth. You better watch what the fuck you doing, because this shit gonna fucking backfire. Especially if you're a Scorpio. You never know what's being recorded. You never know who the fuck is watching. You think you slick. You think motherfuckers can't see what the fuck you doing. It's gonna fucking backfire. I told you, motherfucker. This shit. You know what I'm saying? Hold on one second. I gotta go like this blunt, man. I gotta go like this blunt, but I just want y'all to know. You know what I'm saying? It's not a game. It's not a fucking game. Alright, so it's your boy K-Blao, HOODX, you know what I'm saying? I just did this whole fucking video, just like I did the Virgo verse video. The whole audio fucked up, because I'm a fucking idiot. And YouTube fucked up my live stream, so I ain't gonna be able to go live until like July, some shit like that. So I have a whole different way of recording. And when I record, if you don't hit this button, the audio be fucked up. And I think I got that shit down pat. I don't know if I'm gonna do that shit a third time. But fuck all that. This video is about Roseanne Barr as well as Drizzy Drake,
who are going through a tough time right now in the media because they're being dragged through the mud for some shit is by their own fucking doing. Because Drake is got a scathing diss record put out about him by a dude named Pusha T, who was one of my favorite artists back in the day. I'm glad to see he did that shit. You know what I'm saying? And Drake is basically making it look like Drake was hiding his baby. Drake was gonna basically come out and say he had a son during this Adidas press run. You know what I'm saying? But if you follow Drake's career, you kind of know, like, man, he ain't really saying nothing about having no baby. Like, they've been trying to keep this shit secret. So Pusha T coming out and exposing all this shit, it's not a good look for somebody like Drake, who's a Scorpio, who don't like being exposed. Drake had put out a record called Duppy or some shit like that. Basically going at Pusha T with the scorpion tail, had a little shiny ring at the cover. It was real nice, you know what I'm saying? It was cute. But like, you dealing with the Taurus verse, man. Like, Pusha T a Taurus, he burned May 13th. You know what I'm saying? You fucking with the Taurus verse. Like, Pusha T spit law. Like, you can hear the shadow walkers in Pusha T. Like, when Pusha T spit, like, he say ruthless shit, man. Like, I grew up listening to Pusha T. You're not about to, that ain't gonna be an easy fight. You see what I'm saying? Cause like, he gonna go in the law on your ass. You know, and you know, Drake baby mom is supposed to be like his porn star stripper chick, and like, you know what I'm saying, they really trying to clean up her image now that all this stuff is going public. You know what I'm saying? Drake got deals with Adidas and Sprite and like, you know what I'm saying, like real EA Sports, like real fancy, you know, businesses. So him having a baby with a stripper porn star type, you know what I'm saying, it's really not a good look. So like, they really trying to package it and make it look a certain way. And Pusha T is just all over that shit. Like, you know, it's some Scorpio shit. They're trying to make an image out of this shit. You see what I'm saying? Drake got a lot of shit riding on him, and then like, you know, he signed to like basically 4 different labels. You think Young Money, which is signed to Cash Money, which is signed to like another label, which is signed to Universal. You see what I'm saying? Some shit like that. So like, they cutting up his money like 4 different ways, but at the same time, he get a much bigger push because you got all these companies pushing him. So like, you know, that's why it's got to look a certain way. You know, that's why he achieved heights that Lil Wayne couldn't get, and then like Drake is supposed to be way more squeaky clean type of image. You see what I'm saying? But this is totally backfired on him in true Scorpio fashion. If you look at my video why I hate Scorpios, you kind of see why me saying this exact type of shit. And they're like, Scorpios, they think they slick, man, but like, I can see through the bullshit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, literally, you talking about Pusha T or Taurus, and they're like, he gonna see through the bullshit. Pusha T gonna see through the bullshit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, same shit with Poe. Like, Poe see through bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Shout out my man Poe. You know what I'm saying? He born on the 16th. You know what I'm saying? So the Taurus verse gonna see through the bullshit. They gonna look at the real character, and they're like, Pusha T gonna go for your heart. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's all facts. All facts. You know, even the picture you look at with Drake with his blackface on, you know what I'm saying? Even though it you know what I'm saying, it's more to that picture than what they telling you, and they're like, you know, it was for a clothesline, they were trying to make a message with that picture. Pusha T still, he used facts, man. It's like, he not exaggerating none of that shit. It's all facts. It's all like, he put it right in your face. You see what I'm saying? So to make you really question the image and, you know what I'm saying, the heart of the character, it's just like, look at his character. Basically, that's what Pusha T's saying. Like, this is what you're gonna get with the Taurus verse. It's gonna make you like, man, look, what's your character? You know what I'm saying? And when you're dealing with water signs, it's easy to separate that water from the real person. It's like, you can see, it's like, Joe, all that shit don't add up. That's not who you really are. When you look at me, it's like, what you see is what you get. My mistakes. You know what I'm saying? When I fuck up, I fuck up. You know what I'm saying? When I can tell you I fucked up, you know what I'm saying? If you don't get me covering up shit, it's like, Joe, like, this is what the fuck you see is what the fuck you get. With Drake, it ain't like that. It's the same shit with Roseanne. It's like, Roseanne, you know what I'm saying? Even though you look at her on ABC, you know what I'm saying, and she look a certain way, that's still a watered down version of what the fuck it really is. You talking about a Scorpio woman like Roseanne, and like, she got in trouble for saying some racist shit about, you know what I'm saying, President Barack Obama's advisor, Valerie Jarrett. You see what I'm saying? She basically came out and said she looked like a woman from Planet of the Apes. You know what I'm saying? So you know, because of that, Roseanne got taken off the air again for the second time. You know what I'm saying? And like, mind you, this just came back on the air after years and years of being off the air. Roseanne could not get a lot of gigs in Hollywood. I'm saying, for her to get this gig, this was big. This was really big for her. You see what I'm saying? This was really big. They brought Dan back from the grave. You know what I'm saying? They had even started filming season 2. You know what I'm saying? The whole cast and crew had came back. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of momentum behind it. They had over like 18 million viewers. You know, for the first episode. It was a huge return. And then for her to do this, you know what I'm saying? This is some straight Scorpio shit. A lot of times you deal with Scorpios, man, all you gotta do is just sit back and let this wheels turn. And like, they gonna fuck their own shit up. And then like, when they do, it's gonna be damage control. It's like trying to uphold an image. There's some ratchet shit going on outside. But I say this in my video. Go watch my Why I Hate Scorpio videos, man. Go watch the Why I Hate Scorpio video. I say this exact same shit. And then like, you know, you dealing with air shit like Twitter. And then like, when you put a tweet out there, it's there forever. You know what I'm saying? Roseanne is a comedian, so it's expected for her to say funny, you know, borderline, you know, edgy shit. But like, you think you can get out there untamed and like, you know what I'm saying, and just say shit like that after you just got on ABC? Like, you just got back on ABC. You're supposed to tone it down. It's like you're supposed to be telling ABC type jokes. Like, you know what I'm saying? But Roseanne is Scorpio fashion. You know what I'm saying? Vulgar, no class. You know what I'm saying? Even if they do, like Scorpio women, a lot of you, they show you class. A lot of shit be fake as hell. Like, that shit ain't class, man. That's some fucking thirst trap shit. Like, they're trying to trap your ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, you imagine being married to Roseanne right now. Like, if you was really, like, what's that dude named Tom Arnold? You know what I'm saying? They divorced. You know what I'm saying? But like, you imagine being married to Roseanne and like trying to deal with her and like trying to comfort her through this situation like this. You know what I'm saying? And then like, it's not like she gonna look at you and say, man, I fucked up. It's like she gonna be sitting there pointing her finger at everybody. And in the back of your mind, you gonna know that, like, bitch, it was you. You fucked up. You know, but how you gonna tell her that? Imagine being married to Roseanne right now. You know what I'm saying? Or imagine being Drake baby mama right now. And then like all that shit, the way that shit playing out, like all that shit, him hiding, him not being there through the weather, you know what I'm saying? And then Pusha T coming out saying all that shit. Imagine being her. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna. It's like you can see the image, you can see the bullshit, you can see like you gonna separate the water from the real person. Scorpios make you do this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's why I hope if you a Scorpio, even though me saying this shit, like, I know if you're a Scorpio, I know that you ain't even hearing this shit. It's like Scorpios be so focused on stinging a motherfucker that they don't never know. Like, I said this shit in my video, the sting always backfired. The sting backfired. Roseanne tried to sting this shit, it backfired. Drake tried to sting Pusha T with that little duppy shit, it fucking backfired. The sting backfires. And then like, Scorpios pride themselves on being able to sting people. Oh, if you out, I'm a nice person. I'm such a nice person. But if you ever cross me, I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna get back at you. It's like, motherfucker, yeah. And then you gonna fuck your own self up. Look at you know, it's a chick, what's this chick name, man? What is this chick's name, man? Barbara, what's her name? And what the fuck is her name, man? This lady. Betty Broderick. Betty Broderick. You know what I'm saying? If you never heard of Betty Broderick, you know, this is a perfect example of a Scorpio. Like, go look at her testimony. It's too much shit to talk about. You know what I'm saying? But like, go look at her explain why she killed her husband. You see what I'm saying? And you're going to see exactly what I'm trying to give you in this video. And then like, you're not dealing with accountability. You're not dealing with like logic. You're dealing with like, you know what I'm saying, almost like a minion, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Scorpio like to, you know what I'm saying? Like, these motherfuckers are the minions. This was like being a Scorpio. These motherfuckers, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially a Scorpio woman. It's like being married to one of these motherfuckers, Joe. Because it's like, you ain't dealing with logic and intellect. Like, you dealing with a fucking minion, Joe. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how fucking Roseanne looked to me. It's like sitting there trying to explain to her that you fucked. Like, imagine trying to explain to a minion that, okay, minion, because you put this shit on Twitter, we're going to cancel your show. Like, how do you expect a minion to respond to that? You see what I'm saying? Imagine Drake running around right now after Pusha T popped this record. You know what I'm saying? That you gonna get this shit right here. You look at Betty Broderick, same thing. Like the way that she trying to reason why she killed her husband. It's literally this shit. Mind you, Betty Broderick's husband was a Scorpio too. You see what I'm saying? You do some research on that. It's a hell of a story. But you know the sting backfires. Always remember that when you're dealing with Scorpio. And if you are a Scorpio, I hope you remember this shit yourself. Just as much as you pride yourself on that sting in motherfucking. Trust me, Scorpios know this shit themselves too. And they're like, whoever they end up shitting on, they take it too far. They do the stupid shit they do. They always end up regretting that shit. And it's like they never put that panic in. They always pride themselves on being able to sting a motherfucker. But then like, you got to be the person that prides yourself on knowing that shit gonna backfire. Be that person. Just as like, it's just as soon as a Scorpio person look at you and smile and say, you know, Scorpios is the strongest sign. We'll always get back at you if you ever try to cross us over. Just smile right back at them and say, and I know that shit's gonna backfire. You know what I'm saying? Because it always fucking do. That's what always give me that. Just be confident and smile in the Scorpio face and just know that whatever the fuck they do is gonna backfire 90% of the time. You know what I'm saying? I promise you. Because they minions, man. Like, just know that in their core, you dealing with that shit. It always, they sound a certain way when they say shit. Like, when you hear Drake Duppy freestyle, when you hear him say all that shit, it's like, damn, it's like you watch, what's that shit? Snoop listening to Drake, to Duppy. See, like, you going to be like this. When you hear a Scorpio talk, it sounds like this. I don't want the video to get flagged, you see what I'm saying? So I'm going to turn the music down. You know what I'm saying? Because I know they be on it. But, like, Snoop listening to Drake diss, you can go watch this video yourself, you see what I'm saying? And, like, when you first start listening to a Scorpio, this is the exact expression you're going to have. It's going to sound a certain way. You're going to be like, damn, like, it's going to sound reasonable. Like, all you got to do is just sit the fuck back and then, like, let that shit play out. And you're going to be like, damn, you're going to be shaking your fucking head. Because, like, they going to convince you that they shit is the real. They going to convince you that what they saying is the motherfucking truth. Like, go listen to Betty Broderick. You're going to be kind of like this. You're going to be like, especially like, man, you got to remember, there's a lot of women out here who believe Betty Broderick wasn't, right. You see how you doing that shit? Scorpio going to make you do that. Just remember this. Remember this. I'm showing you these images on purpose. Like, a Scorpio going to grab your attention. They're going to have you like, damn, that's some real shit. But just remember, Joe, that shit is skewed. It's an image. That shit ain't gonna add some bullshit. And they're like, let's go watch Broderick explain, you know what I'm saying? Go to fucking Roseanne Twitter page, man, Joe. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Roseanne. Go to Roseanne Twitter page today and look at all the shit she tweet. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna get the Duppy reaction. To say that we're gonna call that the Duppy reaction. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you listen to it, man, what the fuck just happened, man? See, my computer be on bush. Like, when you listen to a Scorpio try to, man, what the fuck going on, man? Well, seeing how we here, make sure you fucking follow me on Twitter, HOODX TV. Seeing how this shit wanna act like an ass, so I use it in my bill. All right, but get a chance today, go to Roseanne Twitter page, man, and look how she done went. Shit's a train wreck. She tweeting nonstop 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago, 3 hours ago, 2 hours ago, 1 hour ago, 3 hours ago. People saying they support Roseanne. Let's get her 1 million followers, show support. You know what I'm saying? What does this shit say? I think it'll be better tomorrow to start this part of this for Jane and Ray on the show, whom I grew to love, some other shame. Blah, blah, blah. I do not love her because she's African American. It's the most god awful thing. I can't let myself cave in though. Yeah, you get that type of shit. I mean, I guess it looked like she got some type of accountability going here, but like at the end of the day, you see this is a train wreck, and they're like, look at this shit. Look at this shit. Trying to build a movement. I don't know, man. You know, if you're a Scorpio, you feel sorry for Roseanne, you might want to go follow her Twitter page and follow her shit, because like she's literally having a train wreck right now. Like, she literally just like this is pretty fucked up. And like, and mind you, like, she put out a you know, like earlier she was just putting out all this content see, like, it says Allison Mack is branding sex slaves, but they still got Smallville on the air, and she got caught doing some sex slave shit. The chick from Smallville, I don't know if y'all know that, she's a Leo. She got caught doing some sex trafficking and slave shit, but they still got Smallville in the air. And, you know, shit, Keith Olbermann saying shit like this. And, you know, basically she's trying to point out a lot of, you know, hypocrisy in there. Like, it's all type of pedophiles in Hollywood, and they still got to work. I saw some of these posts earlier saying shit like this, and they're like, you know, how the hypocrisy of Hollywood, basically, like how she got fired, and there's all these different types of people in Hollywood still working, and they did more bogus shit than her. And then, you know, you get this type of shit going, and like, you know, this thing always backfire. You always going to see a Scorpio end up doing shit like this. And they're like, you may not even see it yourself. If you get into it with a Scorpio, you know what I'm saying, you leave, just go, when you walk away, just know that they going through this type of shit. And they're like, you won't get to see it yourself, but just know that it's real. And they're like, they try to use silence as a weapon a lot of times. They try not to say shit, but like, trust me, man, like behind closed doors, they be doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because them emotions still be turning in their ass, even though they fixed this, it's fixed emotion. So it's like that shit is turning in their ass. You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of times, just you gotta just sit the fuck back and know that like that energy ain't complete yet, and it's gotta work its cycle through them. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the best you can do is, you know what I'm saying, offer support and try to approach it with a state of understanding. And like, even me giving you this information, it sounds ruthless, but like that don't mean that you should be ruthless. And like me giving you, you know, I don't want you to think that you got to sound like me giving a Scorpio this information. And like, I do this shit ruthless because I'm ruthless. You see what I'm saying? But, you know, you really got to understand, you really got to approach it with a state of understanding. A lot of Scorpios be depressed, they be fucked up, they be, you know what I'm saying, they just fucked up mentally. So like when they get into a position of power, you know what I'm saying, they leadership be off. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, it's a image. When you look at Drake, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's an image. You know what I'm saying? It's like when he is in a very high position of power, but look what he doing with. He got a son. He not, you know, he not trying to present it in a certain way. It's like it's flawed as fuck, man. You know, he ain't put shit out since May 27th. He still ain't even responded. You go to Twitter, he still ain't even responded. So, you know, behind closed doors, he doing the same shit Roseanne doing, believe it or not. You just can't see this shit. You know. But like, if you get into it with a Scorpio and you right, just know that you right. Like Pusha T, like that nigga, he right. It's like, this is straight Taurus verse shit. Like Poe, shout out Poe. Poe say shit all the time. He's like, man, don't worry about if you right or wrong. Just say the truth and know it's the motherfucking truth and just stand on that shit. And that's real shit. And they're like, you know, that's real advice from the Taurus verse, especially when you're dealing with a Scorpio. So, you know, just remember that, like I said, in this video, the sting will always backfire. You know, if you got stung by a Scorpio, you know what I'm saying, trust me, somewhere along the line, they regret that shit. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, and if you ain't learned, you gonna learn. You gonna fucking learn. 100.
Hey, Joe, you gonna stay on the foot?
I'm living these lines, I swear I'm giving you my life. Perceptions are affected, spit my soul into this mic. Look into my eyes, I made a track.
What up? It's your boy K-Blao HOODX. Want to make a video. This video is called the Aquarius Hero. All right. So what I want to talk about in this video is a couple of things. Now, if you follow my channel, you know I talk about things like the precession of the equinoxes, and this video has to deal with that. It also has to deal with the concept of Haru, you know, the notion of hero. There's a lot of good material out about hero and the concept of what hero is. And before there was the word hero, there was the word Haru. Haru was the first hero, basically. This is Haru, and he in comedics, he was basically the first hero. So all archetypes of what was known as a hero basically came from him. And that this is a story of like forces working against the main character of the story, who basically starts out one way, but then he ends up growing into something, you know, greater than himself. There's a video series I call The Power of Myth. You might find it kind of boring. You know, I loved it though, but you know what I'm saying? This is me. I'm a writer, so I love watching stuff like that. But there was a book out in a video series called The Power of Myth. It's a great video series to watch to really understand the concept of what a hero really is. There's another video series out called Hancock Exposed, which really builds where I'm going with this concept as far as Haru and how he was really the first archetype of heroes. But he came out of the age of Taurus, which is, you know, in HOODX we call it Taurus verse. So this is the hero of during the age of Taurus. So his story is about his father basically dying and him resurrecting through his father. Now, the story got translated as time went on. You know, we moved from through the precession of the equinoxes, we go from Taurus to Aries to Pisces, then to Aquarius. So the hero archetype, like I said, for the age of a Taurus is what you get with Haru. And this is what you get when you're dealing with a lot of Taurus, is that they concept the way that they perceive they self as the hero of their own story, and that it's kind of rigid in a way, and that you kind of see now in this age we in now, the age of Pisces, you know, how the Taurus verse, you know, anybody who had that Taurus archetype got basically destroyed during this time, and that like I say, they kill more bulls. You can go watch my series. I got a series called the Taurus verse, and that you see this is what's happening to Haru in this age, and that Haru is being slaughtered. Haru, you know, you look at basically who is this god the god of? He's really the god of black men. And you look at what's happening to black men during the age of Pisces. You see, we've been enslaved, we've been chained, we've been killed, we've been sacrificed, just like bulls. You look at like, you know, even the running of the bull in Spain, stuff like that. Like, it's not a good century. It's not a good age right now for bulls in general, or cows. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's basically happening to this hero right now in this age. But back in his time, you know, the cow, the bull, these were sacred animals, and that you know, during that time it was like considered unholy to even eat a cow. Like, cows are considered holy. You know what I'm saying? So this hero, this archetype, was it was more about knowledge itself, about knowing who you are. And like when you watch The Lion King, this was kind of the story of Haru. Simba was basically Haru. It was like about finding yourself and being true to yourself. And this is what Tauruses are really about. And that you see, this is how they see their archetype as their hero, is you know, being true to yourself, staying true to your roots, not selling out. You know what I'm saying? The pursuit of money, the pursuit of happiness, but staying true to yourself. You know, resurrecting, you know, your father's name, your parents' name, your mother's name, you know, carrying on the family tradition, stuff like that. Passing on generational cultures to the next generation. This is all, you know, the Taurus hero. What happened is, like, we moved into the age of Aries. There's a new type of hero that took form. You know what I'm saying? And Moses, when you look at the story of Moses and you know, how he became the next Messiah for you know, for the Jews, basically they moved
they moved from the Taurus heroes into Jewish heroes. You know, so we look at the Old Testament. You look at you know, all of the characters in the Old Testament. You know what I'm saying? Starting with basically like Moses, who was, you know, the first hero of in this time. So he you look at his story, how he came over into you know, there was a slaughter going on, you know, and his mom sent him out in a basket, you know, to basically he got caught in a time and ended up in Egypt. I'm saying Moses ended up being raised by you know, he was raised in a different land. You know what I'm saying? So even though, you know, Moses was a Jew, he was still raised as an Egyptian. So you know, these stories, there's a lot of stories in the Old Testament that you see get translated on to Jewish culture, and this is kind of what you see in the beginning of Hollywood. You know, when Hollywood first took off, and some of the old original like Stokes, fairy tales and folk tales and stuff like that, that get passed down to, you know, where the Aries archetype of hero, you know, and you see this play out when you look at stories like Superman, where like Superman was basically, he was on the planet Krypton, and they sent him, you know, to another land where he rose up, and it was about staying true to himself. You know, the same concept from the Taurus verse series. You know what I'm saying? But a more updated version in that, you know, this archetype of a hero is being swept away into a foreign land, and he's staying true to himself, you know, in this foreign land, and he's basically a symbol, a beacon of hope, or like becoming a symbol of hope. You know, so it's basically about, you know, almost coming off as perfect. You know what I'm saying? You kind of look at Aries energy, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. It's about, you know, challenging good and evil, challenging the forces of evil. You know what I'm saying? Same thing about being true to yourself, but also you see the challenge, you see the conflict more in this hero archetype. And, you know what I'm saying? It's about, the Aries about Ram energy. So it's going to be more conflict. It's going to be more defined in the culture. And then like you see, whereas, you know, the Taurus hero did not really have as much, they weren't more aware of the you know, if you look at Comedics, it's doing Egypt, it stays in Egypt. It's kind of like Taurus energy, and they're like everything kind of takes place there. It wasn't really aware of it doesn't really take place in the rest of the world, all the different types of cultures, all of these guys. It's just Kemet. It's all right there in Egypt and Kemet. Whereas like when you start to look at the Aries, there's different cultures being formed, and like it's different flags. It's different people representing different flags, and then, you know, they got different land. Now they're going to Canaan, they're going to Bethlehem, they're going to Israel. They got, you know, all of these different lands, different cultures being formed. This is what Aries is about. It's about cultural, you know, the culture of things, and what you represent, the language, you know, all this stuff took place in the Old Testament. You know, Babylon, the story of Babylon, and, you know, splitting the language up, and the customs and the culture and the food and the music, and all of these is what Aries is symbolic of. Is you know, the people who create the culture, basically. You know what I'm saying? So this is why I often say Aries a lot of times fit the demographic, and that like that's kind of what you see in the story of Moses, or you see in the story of even like you look at the DC characters. That's why I use them as a huge reference point in the same concept, is that like because these were originally characters that written in the same type of Jewish lore that you see with characters like I mean that you when you look at the difference between get this straight. When you look at this difference between the DC characters and the Marvel characters, you kind of see, you know, where this stuff led to. And then like when you look at the DC characters, they're more like gods almost, you know, and that they are more of a Aries type of character dynamic. You know what I'm saying? That's what kind of like you look at the church and you look at what's happening with the church right now, how people are not identifying with these type of you know, DC type of characters, or like even the Jewish culture, and the you know, it's kind of being looked down upon in a way. It's like people can see through Hollywood now. You know what I'm saying? So like the stories are changing. Like I said, you see it's a different type of hero that's being molded now. And then like when you look at the Marvel characters, you see they don't do what the DC characters do. And as you see, like the Marvel characters are more written flawed, more like Christ. And when you look at the concept of Christ, Christ is like the hero of the Pisces age. It's like Moses represented the Aries age, and Haru represented the Taurus age. Christ represents the Pisces age in the procession of the equinox. So you look at, you know, Christ is talking about embracing your flaws and, you know, admitting that you're a sinner and stuff like that, because it makes your character better. You know what I'm saying? This is one thing that, you know, a lot of the Jews, you know, the Jewish heroes weren't really about, and it really wasn't about. I mean, when you look at the concept of Moses, he killed somebody. You know what I'm saying? Then you go back to the conflict of Aries first. You know what I'm saying? So when he ran to the burning bush of God, you know what I'm saying? He admitted his sins, and then it was about bringing his people out of Egypt. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't really, and you know, and then creating a culture, the Ten Commandments. So this is Aries thing. It wasn't really about like the fight that Christ had, which was about you know, spiritual awakening and stuff like that. It was, you know, it's more about laying down. The Aries archetype was more about laying down the laws, laying down the culture, you know, the rules and stuff like that in order to build, you know, what they consider Israel, you know, the kingdom of God. The Christian, you know, Christ is more about, you know, the internal, you know what I'm saying, building the internal, knowing that you flawed and correcting it, and you know what I'm saying, getting into the kingdom of God, accepting your flaws, accepting your sins, admitting that you're a sinner, loving your enemy, stuff like that. This is what you get with Marvel characters, you know, and they are more written flawed. When you look at, like I said, you look at the Hulk. Hulk has, you know, temper issues that he tries to correct. You look at, you know, all of them, Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying, he regrets, you know, the fact that his uncle got killed, you know what I'm saying, and that, so, you know, same thing, written flawed. He has all type of problems with his girlfriend, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. Traditionally, this is not what comics was written about in the DC age, you know what I'm saying. They was just super powerful heroes. They didn't have day-to-day problems that you find with Marvel, and they, like, you know, like I said, the characters were written, you know what I'm saying, basically written flawed. You look at characters like Daredevil. This dude is blind, you know what I'm saying. This really started with the Fantastic Four, who was really the first family of comic books, and like, you know, they were bickering, going back and forth, and they used to kind of argue and make up with each other, and like, you know, the DC characters didn't really have this, and like, you know, people had never really seen this with comic books at the time, and that's why these heroes were more identified with, because they were flawed, you know what I'm saying. They were written, people identified because that's the age we living in. We live in an age of Pisces, so it was more about, you know, the emotion of things. It wasn't about necessarily coming off perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like how you see, you know, or you're trying to lay down a foundation of culture, like how you see with DC. It was more about, you know what I'm saying, just dealing with the day-to-day problems, and you know what I'm saying, and you know, the regular human things that people go through. And that's why to this day, in this age, people relate to Marvel movies more than the DC movies, and that, like, you know, that type of hero archetype people don't relate to no more. You know what I'm saying? But even what you get with Marvel right now is that I'm starting to see is that, like, even these type of heroes, you know, it's not just, you know, I'm not saying even comic books too. You look at just all of the movies that come out, you know what I'm saying, that came out in the past, you know, 20, 30 years, you know, even 40 years, you kind of see that cusp of change where, like, you know, the Aries archetype of hero moving into that Pisces archetype of hero, where it's more like, you know, doing the right thing and overcoming, you know, the flaws and stuff like that. And like, whereas more, you know, the earlier movies, when movies first started coming out, you know, it was basically shallow, almost shallow type characters that were just you know, challenging each other, but you didn't really understand the motivational force behind the conflict. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, Hollywood recently has really started to make better movies in relationship to the timing, you know, the climate of the time of the type of hero. You know what I'm saying? So now as we move into the age of Aquarius, even the Marvel heroes you're starting to see they're starting to take a more darker, a more nihilistic type of approach. You know what I'm saying? When you look at, like right now, the number one hero movie selling all time right now that just came out is Black Panther. You know what I'm saying? You look at what happened in that movie, and that like, you know, there's all type of conflict that was going on. It was all type of, you know, you see the Pisces energy in that. It was about, you know, overcoming internal pain, internal, you know what I'm saying, sins of the father, stuff like this, and trying to find, you know, your true inner light. You know what I'm saying? They had conflict between the family, you know, and it's you see that the characters are not as perfect, nowhere near as perfect, you know, as the Aries type or even the Taurus type of heroes, and they're like, they coming at you even more flawed now. You know what I'm saying? It's way more conflict. It's not about just regular superpowers and stuff like that. They're trying to create this regular conflict dynamic between families and stuff like that, where it's like these heroes are really, really flawed now. And that's what you start to get as we move more into the Aquarian type of archetype. You see, you can't really, like, you characters like Magneto now, you know what I'm saying? They're like the way that they keep writing his story more and more, or like even characters like Eric Killmonger, like this guy right here in the Black Panther, and they're like, you really can relate to why the villain is doing what he's doing, and then like you kind of blend the the dynamic between the hero and the villain. It's kind of hard to it's getting, that line is getting more blurred and blurred because but you know, back in the day, you know, in the comic books, it was illegal to actually explain the villain's backstory, and then like the villains, you weren't supposed to sympathize with the villain at all. It was just a good guy and you had a bad guy. The bad guy didn't have a backstory. He was just bad and he was just trying to take over the world. He was trying to, you know, do what he do. This is, you know, Aries, you know, hero villain archetype thing. It was just, you know, conflict. You know, you didn't really have an understanding of the conflict. Well, when you get with the Pisces hero type, you know what I'm saying, like say Marvel, you know, in the more age like the X-Men and stuff like that, you understood the dynamic of the conflict. You understood why these villains were doing what they were doing. You know what I'm saying? You didn't really get that with the Joker back in the day, or, you know, Lex Luthor and stuff. They were just bad because they were bad. You know what I'm saying? You understood why Magneto wanted to do what he wanted to do, and there was a philosophy behind all of that. And you know, as the characters became more sophisticated, you know what I'm saying, you started getting characters like this, like Eric Killmonger, and you know, it was different types of conflict that the heroes had to overcome. It wasn't just, you know, bad guy and good guy no more. It was like, you know, this is in your family. You fighting people in your family, stuff like that. So like, this is moving more into the Aquarian hero, and then like, you know, the character, the hero is get more and more messed up. You know what I'm saying? You look at this guy right here, Deadpool. You know what I'm saying? This is a perfect example of the Aquarian hero, and that like you see he's totally flawed, and that like it's handed to you fucked up from the beginning. When you look at even my channel, you look at the way I discuss a lot of the content, and that like it's like it's fucked up. Just like you have to accept that it's fucked up front. So I'm saying the character is fucked up. This is a fucked up hero. You live in a fucked up time. You know what I'm saying? So like it's more about you know what I'm saying, even though it's fucked up, it's about, that's Aquarius, about righting the wrongs a lot of times. Not necessarily revenge, but like something was done that was done wrong, and like now it has to be corrected. You know what I'm saying? You see this with Deadpool. You see this with and the other thing too about Deadpool is like he's aware that he's in a movie. You see this, and they're aware of the fucked up situation. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got so many people nowadays trying to come off still like DC characters, and they're not understanding is that like it's a different hero type. That people do not relate to. You look at the Justice League movie that just came out, and you look at like, you know, the Black Panther movie come out, you be like, man, like you would think that Superman movie would, you know, Justice League would do better than Black Panther, but coming out Black Panther, you know what I'm saying, beat them all, because people are looking for this new type of hero. You know what I'm saying? When you look at this movie just came out, Thor Ragnarok, you know what I'm saying? There was this character right here, her name was Valkyrie, you know what I'm saying? She had a drinking problem. You know what I'm saying? This is totally against the comic book code back in the day. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you grew up back in the day and was reading comic books, it was, you definitely did not put into this character that the character had a drinking problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was drunk through, like, you know what I'm saying, through the majority of the movie. And it was something that she really struggled with. You know what I'm saying? This is, you know, it's kids watching these movies. You know what I'm saying? But it's accepted now. We living in the age now. The heroes got these problems. These heroes are not perfect. You know what I'm saying? And it's we're moving past. Like you starting to see, like Marvel is moving past the Pisces, like the traditional Spider-Man, even that type of Pisces angel, like the Incredible Hulk, Captain America, and like these type of flawed heroes, they're getting even more flawed when you look at the stuff that they're coming out now, stuff like Deadpool, stuff like this one, Valkyrie. You see what I'm saying? When you look at like your perfect example, this chick. You see what I'm saying? It's a combination. Exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know if you watch her. She has a TV show. This is Jessica Jones. You know, the same thing. She's drinking. She's depressing. She's and this is the other thing too, is that we in the Aquarius hero now, it's being more accepted as females are being heroes. You know what I'm saying? You're starting to see more and more dynamic females with these issues coming to the surface. You know what I'm saying? Jessica Jones is a perfect example of this. Is a hero that's fucked up, off rip. You know what I'm saying? Type of addiction, drinking. You know what I'm saying? And you see what Marvel, like I say, Marvel is already moving past their traditional, Avengers type characters into these darker and darker characters that come at you fucked up off rip. You know what I'm saying? Because they understand that, like, in this age, everybody has issues. And the more, oh wow, my computer will do this right now. Y'all gotta give me 1 second. And the more you can embrace your flaws, the more you're relatable. You look at this guy, Punisher. You know what I'm saying? Perfect example of this guy got PTSD out the ass. He can write a book on PTSD. Hold on, man. Y'all gotta give me a second. I gotta run and grab my plug. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so like I said, I watched The Punisher. I love the show, and that his character's the same thing. This character's been around for a while, but you see how it's like now we're in a time where people can really start to appreciate the character because it was kind of ahead of its time. A lot of the Marvel characters that's coming out now like this was really shocking. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, whereas now it's more understood. You know what I'm saying? That like it's time. People want to see these stories. People can embrace these type of characters now because we're more flawed. We're living in a more flawed time. Aquarius, a big thing about Aquarius is about correcting what was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Revolutionizing things that's wrong. Justify. Justice. You know what I'm saying? Correcting things that are unjust. So even though you see characters like the Punisher, he's more ruthless, but at the same time, he has principles. So he's trying to correct something that was wrong. He's not trying to, he's right there at that fine line between good and evil. You know what I'm saying? So this is Aquarius image. You know what I'm saying? So we're getting more and more of these type of heroes coming out. I follow this show. There's a show out called right now called Homeland. You know what I'm saying? This lady right here, her name is Carrie. And this is talking about the hero characters that are taking on drama that you traditionally see guys in. You know what I'm saying? This is a perfect example of this chick she's bipolar. You know what I'm saying? So she be on meds, breaking down, having all type of, hysteria and anxiety, you know what I'm saying? And she she's been restrained in a couple episodes, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, man, like why would they make the main character bipolar? This is not traditional stuff that, you know what I'm saying? If you was gonna make a movie, traditionally, you know what I'm saying, you would not make yourself bipolar. You know what I'm saying? You would try to make yourself cool, clean, and you know what I'm saying, and coming off more like Superman and Batman, and you know what I'm saying, Moses, and maybe even Haru. You know what I'm saying? But like that's not what we in now. You look at even character Rocky, and that, like you're saying, like Sylvester Stallone is a very smart dude, but like you imagine him filming Rocky, he's acting like an idiot. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like where we started to get into these anti-hero type, you know what I'm saying, characters that people wanted to embrace, you know what I'm saying, these heroes. So now you got everybody out here acting like a badass. Everybody's acting like they're slow. Everybody's acting like there's something wrong with them, you know what I'm saying? So, they're developing these characters that, people in Hollywood is trying to portray, real people. This woman right here, this is Rey from Star Wars. I'm saying this is female. Same thing I'm talking about. This is Star Wars is traditionally a more masculine type show, but she is, more of Aquarian type energy. You know what I'm saying? She's a female, but like she's not real shapely. She has a thin Aquarian look to her. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's a female. She's beautiful. She don't have she's not. She's, looking at her. She, when you're watching this movie, you don't necessarily try to identify her as like a model type chick, and they're like it's an Aquarius type woman. And they're like it's a woman, but I wouldn't say masculine per se, but it's not a traditional woman. You know what I'm saying? It's like a hero woman. You know what I'm saying? So she's fighting. She's got sticks. She's got swords. She's, combating. She's challenging. You know what I'm saying? This is not stuff that you traditionally see in movies. This is not traditional Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? It's actually pissing a lot of people off, but it's the age that we living in. You know what I'm saying? It's not the patriarch Star Wars. It's like, okay, there's a female side for this too. And even though she's a female, she's more like an Aquarius female, and like she has a masculine presence about her that's still sexy, but she'll beat your ass, and she's very smart. You know what I'm saying? So you see this coming to the surface more and more. It's, people are not trying to be the traditional hero. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, this really started with, Marvel seeing, you know what I'm saying? That's what you really see, like, the Justice League movies are not doing, is nowhere as good as, the Marvel movies. So, look at yourself and look at your flaws. And, you know what I'm saying? This is the same thing that Christ was saying. And that, like, you don't have to be a DC character. You're here, you in your own story. You don't have to be Superman. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to be, somebody like Deadpool and realize that when you look at my videos do not come off perfect. If you're trying to make a product or a video series, you're trying to present yourself, and nowadays you do not have to come off perfect. It's okay to throw in little, things about yourself. It's okay to be yourself. You know what I'm saying? This is what people are looking for. One of my favorite heroes, you know what I'm saying, this guy, Blade, you know what I'm saying? And then he's a vampire, you know what I'm saying? And then he's basically a hero with a disease, you know what I'm saying? So and he's trying to inject something in him to keep him from not going all the way vampire on you. You see what I'm saying? So like it's basically a hero with a disease, you see what I'm saying? And and is a vampire. You know what I'm saying? So like it's Marvel is like I say, they you transition, you think of Marvel, you think of, like I say, the Avengers, these Spider-Man, Iron Man, stuff like that. But like, they know that right now we're moving into the age of the Aquarius hero. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like DC hasn't really like DC has a show out right now. It's called Black Lightning, and you see they trying to do that. They're trying to create conflict on that show. You know what I'm saying? Traditional family conflict, stuff like that. Not traditional good guy, bad guy conflict. You know what I'm saying? So like DC is just now really trying to get to that point where they're giving you these heroes you can relate to. Matter of fact, like in the recent Avengers movie, they had this scene. Aquaman was drinking. You know what I'm saying? And like traditionally, when you go look at the story of Aquaman, like this is not the traditional Aquaman that's in the comic books. And like they changed his whole. They were trying to make him into the Aquarius Aquaman. You know what I'm saying? And they're like he's drinking, he's a badass, and he's a renegade. And he don't want to work with nobody. He wants to stay alone. Like this is not. They made all this shit up for the movie. You know what I'm saying? So because DC is trying to get with the times. You know what I'm saying? The Marvel characters, a lot of them was written fucked up off rip. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of see. I use that as a manipulation. You see that in the manipulation of where they trying to take these heroes. You know what I'm saying? And you start asking yourself, man, why are the heroes doing these things? And they're like, I'm not used to seeing these. Well, you go back to this movie, Hancock. This is a movie with Will Smith, and they're like, he was a black superhero. He was in jail. You know what I'm saying? He was drinking. He was an alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, there's a video series that's called Hancock Exposed. I highly suggest that you watch it. It's really a good extension. I mean, this is really an extension of Hancock Exposed. If you know the concept of what Hancock Exposed really was, and that like If you know the movie Hancock, Will Smith was actually playing Haru, which was the first guy, the Falcon guy. You know what I'm saying? There's tons of Falcons throughout the entire Hancock movie. You know what I'm saying? If you look for them, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of documentaries out, there's a lot of articles you can find online that break this down. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the only person with this philosophy. You know what I'm saying? But Hancock didn't know that he was Hancock. That's why he had that name, Hancock. And it's literally just the same. It's like you go back to the Taurus verse principles, knowing yourself, like you say, Simba, staying true to yourself, finding out who you are. He didn't know who he was, so he eventually found out who he was through the movie. But he, because he didn't know who he was drinking, he was in and out of jail. He was a hero with superpowers, but he just didn't know who the hell he was. This was the black man in the 21st century. You know what I'm saying? It's the Taurus verse. It's like we're heroes, but we didn't know we was heroes. You know what I'm saying? We don't know how to use our powers. It's the same concept where the X-Men came from. You can look it up on Wikipedia. You know what I'm saying? X-Men is really black people. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. God, people don't know how to use their powers, so they're outcasts and they're, they're mutants, freaks. The Hancock was written flawed. You know what I'm saying? Off rip. You know what I'm saying? He was an alcoholic, he was a drunk, he embraced it. He actually put himself in jail in order to get past, making the same mistakes over and over again. And this is what Hancock was about. And this is Hancock, like I said, is hero, understanding the concept of hero, what a hero really is in this day and age. What type of hero do we need in the age of Aquarius? What you see what I'm saying? In this age, it's more than likely this hero is gonna be flawed. It's gonna come off more like Deadpool, more like perfect example of a movie that just, like I said, recently came out where DC is trying to embrace the Aquarian hero in this movie. You know what I'm saying? They just had a movie come out called Suicide Squad. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like people are not relating as much to Superman, Batman, stuff like that. So like now they're trying to give you the Joker and as a hero. They trying to give you Harley Quinn as a hero. You see what I'm saying? Because it's kind of the same thing when you watch wrestling. They it was one part where Jake the Snake Roberts just became, all of a sudden people just started cheering for Jake the Snake, even though he's supposed to be a bad guy. People just started rooting for him. You know what I'm saying? Because all of a sudden he was like an anti-hero. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you get with Suicide Squad. It's the same thing. It's like, okay, these were villains, but now people are rooting for them as a hero because they're working with the government. So like the same thing. They're flawed up front. You have to embrace the flaws up front. You have to embrace the fact that like not traditional good guys up front. This is what we're looking for in this age. So know that, look at your flaws, embrace your flaws. Don't be scared to say your flaws. Don't be scared to say, hey, I'm fucked up. Hey, I got a lot of issues. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, when you look at my video series, you can tell I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? You can tell, I'm a true Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to come off. It's okay to say fuck or shit. You know what I'm saying? In a video, it's okay to admit that you got an addiction. It's okay to admit that you've been arrested or you know what I'm saying, anything. You know what I'm saying, that the last thing that you think that you should admit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times in the age we live in, that's the exact shit that people want to know. Is that like that's the shit that you should admit. You know what I'm saying? So look at the things that's wrong with you, man. Whether it's like you keep making the same mistakes over and over again, or you know what I'm saying, you might have, like I said, been arrested, or you might have a disease and you might know how to help people fix it, or you might you know what I'm saying, have fears about race and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You may be scared to say racist shit and you struggle with this, you know what I'm saying, but you might want help with it. You know what I'm saying? You learn to come out and say these things. You know what I'm saying? Some people are addicted to porn. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to say, like, I was watching a video of Terry Crews, you know what I'm saying? He got a whole video series on him admitting he was addicted to porn. You know what I'm saying? And this is what people are looking for. It's just flawed up front. You know what I'm saying? So this is the age we're living in. It's something to talk about for like a week or two and then people move on. You know what I'm saying? It's not even a big deal. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things that you weigh your whole life on, this, believe it or not, in this day and age, it makes you a hero. Once you learn to embrace it and wear it, you look at, like I say, look at characters like Harley Quinn, look at characters like Hancock, and you go back and watch a lot of these movies, you know what I'm saying, that I've been saying in this video series, and you really get a better idea of what I'm saying. So, but I'm gonna end this here. I hope that y'all get the point what I'm saying, and I haven't made too many videos recently because, like I said, they shut down my live, and I have been working on the fast forward button video series, which is on my other page, Corporate Algorithm. So if you haven't seen that yet, I highly suggest you go watch it because It's only gonna be up there for a little while before it get taken down. So make sure you check out the corporate algorithm fast forward button. And I appreciate y'all, watching this video. And hopefully I said something that you can relate to. And I'll see you next video. Peace. K-Blao, I'm back. This video called Black Men Will Always Be Boys. Very ruthless shit to say, but it's 100% true. But we're talking about really American black boys, black men, you know what I'm saying? Only because of just the culture. Where the fuck would this concept come from? Well, it comes from a lot of resources. And that, like, you know what I'm saying? Hold on. Get to the chat. Wait, hold on. Let people get into the chat real quick. Okay, so black men will always be boys. I have a personal belief that, you know what I'm saying, average black man, no matter how old he is, really subconsciously is about 17 years old. You know what I'm saying? Now, we're talking about America, you know what I'm saying? You look at the hat, you look at the fashion, you look at the clothes, you look at, you know what I'm saying, typically like the music we listen to is useful shit like hip hop, R&B. This music really for like younger motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So in our heart, we don't want to grow like Toys R Us. Like, I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. You gotta understand, we're living in the age of Pisces. Pisces is kind of like a child, not like an Aries child, but like, you know what I'm saying, more like a child of the mind. You know what I'm saying? So childlike in your belief system. They're called blindless faith. So this is what you get a lot of times with black men. Obviously, I'm a black man, so I can speak on this. You know, so I grew up in the church under my mom. My mom used to give us a lot of dialogue, you know, at the Roman Catholic Church. Same people that say sold us into slavery. You know what I'm saying? That shit ended up, you know what I'm saying, me questioning a lot of shit that I used to see. So what led me down the road, I used to believe that, I used to see that, like, man, my mom never really kind of, you know, not just me, but like a lot of the moms in the community never really see their men as men. Now, when I went to go see Black Panther, me and Poe really opened my eyes to this shit. You know what I'm saying? I went to go see Black Panther. You know what I'm saying? They had to see with Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett is T'Challa's mom. You know what I'm saying? And they had a scene where like anybody in the whole city could come out and challenge him to a fight. Where they could kill it. Like if they were to kill her, they could kill you like, right for your mom. Your mom couldn't do shit about it. You know what I'm saying? And this was a shit that was going, it was like, what the fuck? Like, why the fuck would they let him get his ass whooped and almost killed in front of his mom? Because this is a right, it was called a rites of passage. You know what I'm saying? Now, black men don't have a rites of passage. Like, you know, so you think of America, in America, there's no ceremony per se that's like, okay, you're a man now. You know what I'm saying? You look at Jews have some shit called like, what the fuck is that shit called? Oh man. They have a ceremony, you know what I'm saying, where they invite the whole family out, people get money and shit. What is that shit called, man? Somebody will know, they'll leave it in the comment. You know what I'm saying? Jews had this ceremony where it's like you're a man now. They put you on a chair and they lift you up in the air and shit, you know what I'm saying? Even females, you know what I'm saying, in Spanish culture, you know what I'm saying, they have something called a cotillion. You know what I'm saying? I think it's like when you turn 15, you know what I'm saying, they had this big celebration. It's okay, you're a woman now. You know what I'm saying? It's like a rites of passage. It's called a bar mitzvah, I think it's called. I think it's called a bar mitzvah for Jewish. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's like, okay, you're a man now. There's an indoctrination there that says, okay, you're no longer a boy, you're a man now. Now, they also used to have some shit, but like, you know, in Africa, certain places, they circumcise you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they bring you out in front of your family or, you know what I'm saying, certain community, and they cut the skin off, you know, the foreskin off your dick and say, okay, you're a man now. So there's a rites of passage there. So America don't have no rites of passage like that for men. Typically, other than that, it's like a wedding. You know what I'm saying? But like, that's not for you. You know what I'm saying? That's inclusive of a female. You know what I'm saying? Your wife, your counterpart. So you're the type of answer like, well, damn, like if you're a black man growing up in America, like how the fuck do you really know when you're a man? It's like your mom don't have no ceremony there. You know what I'm saying? To let her know that you're a man. You know what I'm saying? So like she always gonna kind of see you as a boy. So that's why you kind of see like black men constantly being shunned by their mom, like son, like you know what I'm saying? Just kind of talk down to. It's like, motherfucker, you're not a man. Like, they don't never see you as a man. You know what I'm saying? So like this, I made another video talking about all women are feminists. It's kind of what led to, you know, these type of conversations I was having with Paul. We were really exploring this, and Charlie was like, damn, like if you a black man, you only a black man. Like when you needed, you know what I'm saying, for some other, okay, now you're a man, but other than that, motherfucker, like you a boy. You know what I'm saying? There was never no rites of passage. You know, now you gotta understand, like I grew up in Chicago. I grew up on the south side and the west side. It's a lot of gang activity out here. You know what I'm saying? Now these motherfuckers got a right to pass. It's like, okay, you go join the motherfucking gang, the first thing you're gonna do, they're gonna beat the shit out of you. Just the same shit you seen in Black Panther. Like they gonna stomp your ass in the motherfucking corner and say, okay, you've been jumped in to the gang. So I'm saying, no, this is a right to pass. You know what I'm saying? Then they put your ass on the corner, sell some dope, you know what I'm saying? Like give you a motherfucking gun. It's like, okay, you a man now. You know what I'm saying? So like the gang culture kind of understand that like somewhere in the back of every black man's mind, it's like we supposed to go through some type of rites of passage, you know what I'm saying? And then like because we don't have that, a lot of us motherfuckers go to the gang culture and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So you see a spiral that like is a black boy looking for, you know, clout to prove himself he a man, but there ain't no system, there ain't no rites of passage. So like he want to prove himself to himself that he a man. So you get this shit. You know, so you don't want to be a boy, you know what I'm saying? Even though you think of the title of this video, it's like, oh shit, like what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't no boy, you know what I'm saying? But then you stop and think, well, when the fuck did they tell you, when the fuck did they give you a fucking indoctrination of when you're a man? You don't really have one. You know what I'm saying? That's other than really graduate, like when you say you graduate high school, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of like, okay, well, you're a man. When you really compare the concept of graduating high school to like the images you've seen in Black Panther, or like the concept of getting jumped into a gang and shit like that, like it's not a real rites of passage. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you graduated from high school, but like they're not really telling you you're a man. Or like you thinking, like I say, in Africa, they circumcise you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is not graduating from high school. It's not the same shit. You know what I'm saying? So, and another thing too, like something to look at, you might want to look at over in India, they got this shit called the Indian mother-in-law syndrome. Look, this is crazy shit. Indian mother-in-law. Like over in India, you know what I'm saying? The mothers over there are ruthless as fuck. Like they hate their daughter-in-law. It's like part of the culture that hates your daughter-in-law and like fucking shit on them. Because like they kind of respect the man as quote unquote the king. Like when you see in Black Panther, like even his mom, T'Challa's mom, she bowed down to the king. You know what I'm saying? He was his mom. She was like my king. She's like, you the king. So like your mom in America, you ain't gonna never see like, you know what I'm saying, black man mom bow down to him as the motherfucking king. Like, you know what I'm saying? And they're like, she had to be a part of this rites of passage. You know what I'm saying? Like she knew her place. Even though she was the mom, she still had to bow down to the king. You know what I'm saying? So like they don't give us no rites of passage like that. You know what I'm saying? So you see the nigga walking down the street with his hat cocked to the right with a pistol in his motherfucking hip. So why the fuck is he acting like because he ain't had no rites of passage to prove he a man. So what you gonna get is a fucking boy man. You gonna get what the fuck you looking at? Go lay down. Dog's acting retarded. You know what I'm saying? So so yeah, so you get black men forever trying to look young. You get us trying to like, you know what I'm saying? the culture is always, it's right there next to adolescence. You know what I'm saying? It's right there next to like 17, 18, you know what I'm saying, 19 years old. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z got a song called Forever Young, you know what I'm saying, where he kind of was talking about the same type of shit. And then like, you got to think like Jay-Z's music, he's Sagittarius, he captures a lot of the child boyhood, like, you know what I'm saying, energy that us black men we have. You see what I'm saying? So like, we study Rockefeller, we study like the music labels, like a lot of stuff that happened in the music labels become a sort of rites of passage for us in order to express ourselves as men, because like there's really not a lot of avenues out here that's gonna come out and tell you, okay, you're a man now. You see what I'm saying? So like we do music, we do all type of, you see black men act the way they act. A lot of that shit looked the way it looked because there was never no rites of passage there. You see what I'm saying? So we be trying to explore different avenues to try to find our manhood. You see what I'm saying? Created a lot of, like, for me, believe it or not, like, you know what I'm saying, I don't know, man. Like back in the day, man, I was fucking around with these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? It was called the Four Corner Hustlers. You know what I'm saying? I had joined these motherfuckers and shit. And they, to me at the time, I felt it was stupid. It was like some shit I felt I had to do at the time. You know what I'm saying? But like at the time, I never really banged. It was like, okay, I ran into some motherfuckers and I ran into their goddamn indoctrination and we kind of banged for a week and then I left that. I was like, man, this shit's stupid. I was fucking up too long. You know what I'm saying? But like, other than that, like I never, you know what I'm saying, I never had no fucking rites of passage. Like when I heard myself coming through the fucking speaker for the first time on a song, I was like that was a fucking real eye-opening experience for myself. And it was almost like a rites of passage, you know what I'm saying, for myself. Also too, like when I went into the military, you know what I'm saying, I completed boot camp. You know what I'm saying? That was like a rites of passage for me too. And I literally came out feeling like a man. You know what I'm saying? But like other than that, like a lot of black men are lost. They don't have, you know what I'm saying, we be looking for a manhood and they come out a lot of times fucked up. You know what I'm saying? So like you see, institutionalized little motherfuckers going to jail, police, turning it up. You see shit like this because like we was never given that rites of passage. You know what I'm saying? So like if you are a black man and you've experienced it and you feel that way, I just, you know what I'm saying, and with all due respect to Poe, you know what I'm saying? Poe was really a motherfucker who really put me onto this concept. You know what I'm saying? So I want to mention that in this video, but so hopefully this video will give you some type of clarity on that and you can find your own rites of passage, you know what I'm saying, to claim your manhood, you know what I'm saying, with your family. And that's a lot of what I try to do with this page, is put out content. A lot of times people don't have the answers for, you know what I'm saying, just get the wheels turning. So leave some comments in the below, man. I really appreciate it. And hopefully I said something to, give you some clarity with that, man. All right, subscribe to my channel, click like and share. You dig? What up, it's your boy K-Blao, HOODX. I want to make this video to talk about Craig Mack and the Taurus verse. First of all, I want to say that if you've never been on my channel before, I talk a lot about astrology and I talk a lot about the signs, I talk about comedics, all type of crazy shit that it's just fucking crazy. So, but this particular video I wanted to talk about Craig Mack because Craig Mack is not only is he a Taurus, but Craig Mack holds a very special place in my heart. You know what I'm saying? Because right before he had died a couple years back, people were reporting that he had joined into a cult, and that that he had found basically religion in this church by this guy whose name is what's this guy's name? Ralph Stair, I think his name is Ralph Stair, right? So he joined this, but I know that in Craig Mack's heart he's a very religious man, and that his birthday is May the 10th. He's a Taurus. Now every Taurus that I've met who was religious, they were genuinely believed that they had God in their heart, and they believe that they were a little incarnate of God. This is part of the Taurus verse. You know what I'm saying? If you go read it on HOODX, you go read the HOODX lit on the Taurus verse. They have flashbacks of previous lives of them, you know what I'm saying, being in the times of the Bible, or even times in Egypt and stuff like that. They have flashbacks of, when they read the Bible, they have flashbacks. Taurus, this was during the time of Taurus, the stuff that's happening in the Bible and stuff like that, and especially back in ancient Egypt and stuff like that. This is all back during that age. So a lot of times Taurus here in the age of Pisces, you know, dreams, you know what I'm saying? They'll have dreams or flashbacks of the Bible. So when you start talking about the Bible, you start talking about religion and stuff like that, like they literally believe that they walked in those times. So I believe that in Craig Mack's heart, he believed that, you know, when he left Bad Boy, it was something bigger, was something. It's kind of like what happened with Malcolm X, and Malcolm X is a Taurus as well, and that he was living a fast life of crime, you know, the typical lifestyle, the black male of that time, you know what I'm saying? But he felt that there was something more out there, and he left, you know, that life and you know, joined the Nation of Islam. Malcolm did, but in this case, you know, Craig Mack joined his church in South Carolina, you know, with his pastor. Now the pastor, believe it or not, he's a Taurus as well. His birthday is May 3rd, you know. So you know, I'm not gonna read all this stuff on the screen, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you can read. I'm just scrolling down, so you can go back and pause and read it if you want. But you know, May 10th are very intense people when it comes to the relationship with God. 10 is the wheel of fortune. So this is a completion of Taurus energy. He's somebody who understands all of the drama basically in his past life, his future life, and his present life. Like, this is somebody who sees his life, you know, the totality of his life in one moment, and you know, and how it fits in with God. So he can instantly see how, you know, the road he was going down with Bad Boy was you know, a path that he probably regret doing it, and that he could see the totality of his life, and that, you know, that the path he was going down, he didn't want to go down that path, and he wanted to go down this religious path. It's literally the same conclusion that like Malcolm X came to, you know. And I really respected that, you know, because me living in Chicago as well, like I lived I had a fucking crazy life, you know what I'm saying, up to the point where, you know, I ran into Poe, who basically you know, like I was always kind of spiritual, I was always religious, but I didn't have a deep understanding of it the way that Poe did. You know, so it was a Taurus who explained a lot of comedics and things to me that really woke me up and knew that God was real. So, but at the same time, I also saw that Poe was a Taurus, so he was kind of rigid in that way, you know, in that you kind of had to see it from his perspective. So, but at the same time, it was no doubt that God was written in his heart. So, you know, this before Craig Mack had died, when I saw, you know, when they had first started reporting, Craig Mack had left religion and joined like this cult. You know, I respect, even though it looked crazy, it was cringeworthy because, you know, he was rapping in church, you know, and it sounded dope where he was saying everything, but it was just like, man, like, if you didn't understand he was a Taurus, you didn't understand why he felt so passionate about what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? He looked crazy. But like, to me, I know Taurus energy. I understood exactly why he did, and I had a lot of respect for him for doing that. But when he died, it just took me right back to the Taurus verse again. Like, if you go back and watch the previous videos on this series, the Taurus verse, you see that I was talking about Pharaoh, and I was talking about you know, Chris Lighty, and you know, Malcolm X, and even Nicole Brown. So a lot of the Taurus die early or get killed early, or just, you know, Taurus is kind of what we call it sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? That, like, you think about bulls in general, you talk about burgers and beef steaks, stuff like this. Like, cows are constantly getting slaughtered. You know what I'm saying? So Taurus versus kind of the same thing. It's about, you know what I'm saying, like, kind of, I guess, dying before your time, and not even necessarily in the physical, but like when you go back and watch the first video of you know, when Craig Mack had first joined that church, you know what I'm saying, the pastor Ralph Stair, he had said that he said, man, Craig Mack is dead. You said, but the old Craig Mack, but the new one before you is new. So like, that's kind of Taurus energy too. It's like dying and resurrecting inside the same body. You know what I'm saying? So there's different types of sacrifice. We talk about sacrifice. So Taurus is ruled by I have. So same thing, something being taken from you is kind of, you know, the concept of sacrifice is the same thing. So when Craig Mack had died early, you know, it was kind of like, I was like, damn, like, it really was a ruthless, I was like, this is a ruthless chamber of the Taurus verse, in that, you know, he died so young. He was only 46, you know, and it seemed like he didn't really get to, you know, you didn't really get that full story, and that he never really had his chance to explain, you know, why it looked the way it looked. You know what I'm saying? And that really bothered me. And then, so I really did a lot of research on the church. I researched the whole story of what happened. I kind of seen, you know, why he died the way he did. And that, you know, Craig Mack, like I said, was born on May 10th. And you see it says the day of the lone movers. And it says that, it's, you know, this is somebody who wants to be a solo player. Like, you know, I have an uncle that's a Taurus, and it's the same thing. Like, we invite him to family outings, you know, every year, and whatever, you know, he always talking about his work, his job, his career. He can't pull it, the money, you know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna be able to make it, and like, it's got to a point we just kind of expect that. But like, me knowing he's Taurus, you know what I'm saying, I can kind of see, you know, how he comes to those conclusions. And I can also see how, like, Bad Boy, you know, Diddy reaching back out to Craig Mack before he had died. He reached out to him coming to Bad Boy reunion. And I could see how Craig Mack would say, nah, not only that he was sick, but also I could just see him saying, nah, you know, in that, you know, the money, the time, and just the lifestyle he was in. He was just like, nah. And I went through that a lot with my Taurus uncle, and as well as, you know what I'm saying, other Tauruses I know that, you know, when they try to get up with them, they just like, oh man, nah, because what I'm gonna do, you know, they start thinking about gas money, their time, their job, they got to get up in the morning, stuff like that. I mean, the morning, stuff like that. So, you know, they don't move easily to these things. So, you know, I kind of saw that energy in Diddy approaching him and Craig Mack telling him no. And, you know, that's why a lot of people was like, man, it's messed up that Diddy didn't, you know, take care of Craig Mack. But I can also see that, man, Craig Mack Taurus, and that, like, it's just written in that way. And that, like, he ain't with it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, he don't need no money. He don't want nothing from you. He just like, man, leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? I'm dealing with the church. So, like, you know, I can kind of see that dynamic there. And, you know, as time went on, what happened was, this guy, Brother Stair, you know, that's what they call him, you know, born, you see, May 3rd, 1933. It's a lot of threes. You know what I'm saying? He started this church. He has a radio show. And then you see, he has, in 2002, he had criminal cases. When he was 69, he was arrested. 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct. And he alleged he coerced them by forcing his religious beliefs on them. And he pled guilty. And he was also charged again in December 18th, 2017. Arrested on 8 counts. First-degree criminal sexual conduct, single counts of assaults with intent to commit sexual conduct, kidnapping, first-degree assault, first-degree burglary, and third-degree criminal sexual conduct with a minor. So, says January 18th, the show ended broadcasting on radio stations due to what's called legal difficulties. Continues to stream on their website along with satellite. And so this really got me curious. I was like, man, so I started doing more research. And then I found this video of this woman talking about the church. And I'm going to hit play and I'm going to make sure.
The name of Jesus, I bind every unclean and evil spirit in me, on me, and around me, and command you be bound and gagged. In Jesus' mighty name. Thank you, Father. For my text, I am going to Luke chapter 8:17. If you have your Bible, service. In the name there humiliates older woman. The name of this message is Brother Stair humiliates older woman in service. Brother Stair humiliates older woman in service. In the name of Jesus, I bind every unclean and evil spirit in me, on me, and around me, and command you be bound and gagged. In Jesus' mighty name. Thank you, Father. That's funny, my daughter, I know. I like to sound like a preacher. If you
this woman is this deranged woman.
Luke chapter with people, even members of the body of Christ, act worse.
This woman basically started putting out videos in May. Basically, I ain't gonna go through this whole thing, but she basically started putting out these videos you see in May of 2017. So this is when it started to kick off. And this is a timeline that led, you know what I'm saying, I kind of see what led toward Craig Mack dying. So, you know what I'm saying, as time went on, Where is it? This girl in September put this video out.
My name is Natasha Lair. I'm 16 years old and I'm forced to go to a church called the Overcomer Ministry. And I'm here to talk about an incident that happened with a man called R.G. Stair. For 5 months, I went to work at the community. The first month, he would find me in the dining hall and touch my butt a lot. The second month, he would come in and he would start lifting up my shirt and touching me sexually. And the third and fourth month, he would just repeat himself. And the fifth month, he asked me to go to the radio room, and I didn't want to go there. I did not. And so he wanted to give me something, so I went, and when we got inside, he gave me what he wanted to give me, and then he started fondling my breast. And he kept asking me, "Do you feel good? Do you feel good?" And I didn't say anything because I didn't know what to do. I just didn't. And so I turned around to go out the door, and he grabbed me from behind, wrapped his arms around me, and he said, "I wish I could keep you in here longer." And then he started touching and rubbing my vagina inside my pants. And after that, nothing really happened. But that is my story of what happened at the Overcomer Ministry with the man R.G. Stair.
So this video comes out. Now, mind you, this still don't have a lot of hits. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never seen nobody even piece all this information together yet. So this is September 30th, 2017. So then, you know what I'm saying? So that, mind you, this is after the other deranged woman comes out. So then, you know, I start going into the videos, you know what I'm saying?
Just discussing that, and you've heard me tell it before.
And I hear this.
I was discussing at a table down here, and that kind of subject of, not before all this other stuff ever happened, although it already happened before, it's just not, God magnified it. I am telling you, I didn't start lusting after a woman when I came here. I was hardly saved 15 minutes and I was lusting after her. Amen. I went to church to get girls.
Amen. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Amen.
That's why I went.
Amen.
Especially when I got my own car and got my own job. I went to church every night.
Amen.
Now, when you hear that, you see what I'm saying? That's a Taurus. He said when he got his job and he got his car, he was going to church every night lusting for women. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is Taurus verse energy. And that, like, you know what I'm saying? Taurus can see, you know what I'm saying, the good and bad in a person almost is like the God and the devil in a person, in their heart. Like, Taurus have an odd way of seeing that, and they're like, it's kind of like in the HOODX, the way Paul described this concept of Smith, and they're like Smith jumping your body, and they're like Taurus can kind of see that, and they're like people. They can kind of see the character in people, and you know, him saying, you know, him going to church, you know, to look for women and stuff like that. Like, this is only, you know, the process of the church and the frequency of church, you know what I'm saying, the dynamic of the women, it's only making them feel more God-like. It's only making them feel more, you know, it's okay to do what he's doing. You see what I'm saying? That like this is another reason why, like, you look at Malcolm X, you know, with what happened with him and Elijah Muhammad. It was really scandalous. You know what I'm saying? The fact that when Malcolm had found out that it was he was having sex with these women. He proclaimed he was a god. You know, this is why Malcolm stopped talking to Elijah, because that was such a huge trigger with him. He was, you know, saying, having sex with women and proclaiming to be a god in the flesh and stuff like that. Like, to Malcolm, he was I don't know 100% sure, but I'm willing to guess that he was probably upset that Elijah never told him that, and that like Malcolm probably would have preferred to have multiple wives and have done the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But Elijah kept it a secret. That's why it was such a big issue with Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? That particular issue. But you know, that's just me speculating. You know, but you know, in this particular instance, you see him saying that he was going to church to target females. So like, Taurus deal with lustful energy, lusting after women, especially women in the church, or like real pure and innocent women. You know what I'm saying? So this is Taurus energy, and this is what a lot of times will get them in trouble. So then in this particular video, I'm like, man, this is getting weirder and weirder. I start looking at this video. You know, this guy based on random uploads, he started uploading all this information. So like, this is when it started bunking from November 26, 2017. You know what I'm saying? They got him on saying this.
She doesn't quite understand.
Now, mind you, I just want to point out the fact that where is it at? Is it here? You know, he got arrested on sorry, this is his mugshot. He got arrested on December the 18th, I think it was. Stare. You know, so he was preaching all the way up till you know, December the 16th, I think it was. Right here. This was the last, on his page right here, the Overcome Issue. This was the last date that they had did, was December 16th, and he was arrested 2 days later. You know what I'm saying? So, but prior to that, you know what I'm saying, you see November 26th, this was when it was all leading up to December 18th. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to get his story straight because he knew he was being investigated, and he knew that, you know what I'm saying, if you go back to this girl back in September, you know, it was already rumors circulating around saying that, you know, he was touching girls. The police, you know what I'm saying, started to get an ear. So, you know, the climate had changed by the time he put this video out. So then they got him on tape basically saying this.
She doesn't quite understand.
Hallelujah. Glory.
So when I give her a hug, I told her last night, I said, if they ask you if I hug you, what are you going to say? I told her, no, he hasn't hugged me. I'll hug him. I'm not trying to be smart with you when I talk about how that came about with you. But that little testimony of that one sister got her mother in trouble, real bad trouble. And now they can to get you in trouble. And if you get in trouble, then Auntie gets in trouble.
God bless you, Jesus.
Then these fine people took you and they get in trouble. So you better get some understanding. Now I hope they never even talk to you. But have your answer ready.
Yes. Jesus. Glory, glory.
I don't like the way you folk are receiving this. What do you think they're going to do to me? No sense that hesitancy on your part. Now we know, do you?
Oh, bless you, Jesus.
What do you know about me?
Thank you.
What has God told you about me?
Perfect. Enough.
What are they saying about me?
Hallelujah.
So what do you know about me?
Yes.
What's the matter? Look how quiet you get.
God's servant. Faithful. Perfect. None like him.
Yeah, but look at the way you say it.
Hallelujah.
Man of God. Thank you. Thank you.
They might say, they're saying, we don't know him.
So
Don't tell by the way you react.
he's trying to get his story straight because he knows that like it's coming down to,
You better get this thing straight, people. I got to get it straight.
Yes.
you know, so he knew that he was, you know, that, you know, all this stuff was coming down on him. So, you know, I started to look more. I was like, man, so I went on their website and, oh man, what happened? What? I went on their website, which is acting up right now. And, get my story straight. So I went on their website and I saw that the last, ministry they had did, like I said, was December the 16th, 2017. You know, and basically he went in there snapping. You know what I'm saying? And matter of fact, on this one real quick, on November 7th, I think.
Thank you, Lord. That's great. Oh, yes. Great. That's good news, prophet.
And all God was doing was. How about a song?
Right here.
I serve the living Savior in my heart today. Yes. I know that He is living, no matter what men say.
So they singing a song, basically he's saying that I know that God is in his heart, and he knows he's living no matter what they say. So like, you know, this is like, that's what I'm saying, like this is the Taurus energy. I can see how Craig Mack would be attracted to this energy, and that, like he's saying that he know he has God in his heart. This is a guy who's fierce, he's stubborn, he's passionate about God, and no matter what people say, he's singing his song, he's happy, and he's praising. So I can see how Craig Mack would be definitely attracted to this energy. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying, by this man who, you know what I'm saying, claiming he's a soldier of God. Now, this part real quick.
I could pick others, but if I pick some of you to come up squirming like this and squirming like that, and it'll make somebody think I'm assaulting you. Really what I want to talk about is the thing I've been wrestling with, because what I've been threatened with is it really a God? Seems like he's so far off. And you sit there, but the peanut praise and you won't give me any space at all, will you? Elijah stepped out on the scene and said, let it be known that thou art God. I preach about you. I feared you. I repent to you. I won't run and try to get away from this. I stand right here and face my accusers. Let them pluck my beard and beat my back. Lie on me and tell things on me. Why we ain't telling no lies on you. Come on, people. Come on. How many times have you lied on me? Why, you're the prophet and you go right out and disobey me. That's a lie. You wouldn't disobey the prophet, would you? Would you? Would you?
So this is when it's really starting to unravel. You know what I'm saying? This is December 4th. This is literally like about a month and then 2 weeks, you know, a month and 2 weeks before he went to jail. So, you know, it's starting to play out in his preaching. Like I said, Craig Mack is obviously watching all this play out. So the stress is starting to increase. And like I said, he got diabetes and he's normally, you know what I'm saying, supposed to be getting hospital treatment. He's not going nowhere with no treatment for this. You know what I'm saying? I really think that that's what started to take a toll on him. Where is it? I think that's what started to take a toll on him, you know, and you know, he eventually did. This is right now. This is the last service.
Your name.
Then, this is the last service that he had did. You know what I'm saying? Before he got arrested, I guess 2 days later after this. And real quick, let me see. 116. I want to play this clip for you real quick.
My God. All of this.
Bless you, Jesus.
Right. So listen to this. This is when he realized that all of that stuff he was saying before.
My God. I didn't tell you not to stop the recordings. I just said don't put them over the air live. My God.
So that's when he realized.
All of this.
That's when he realized that all that stuff he was saying earlier was live, and all the other broadcasts, he didn't really realize. So then he started tweaking a little bit. That's why he got super quiet right here. Mind you, it's still playing. And then he started tweaking. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, this is Taurus energy, and then like it would play out like this when it be fragmented Smith. It's like, and he noticed I could hear him tweaking, and then like he could see the error in his ways, but he could see it's like.
Hey, Reggie. Remember last week I talked to you about this? I didn't tell you not to record it. I just said don't put it over. Record it and put it in. Later on, I might want it. What? Man, you're smart enough to do that.
Yes, sir, I am. Glory. All right, thank you. Amen. Bless you, Jesus.
So he realized all this stuff.
Holy men of God moved, and they record it. They record it in the book.
Yes.
So it can be used today.
Yes. Thank God.
It's recorded in God's Word. You know what's recorded in God's Word? Why, your name, your book. You don't know the book says, no, you're not, but your name is written down. Let's bring back that recording. Let's play that recording.
If you listen, you can hear Craig Mack.
Yes, my name's written there on the page wide.
I'm gonna turn it down just to spare y'all real quick. You know what I'm saying? But if you listen, you can hear Craig Mack in the background. Now, this is when he started to realize, like,
This program contains graphic material, including offensive language. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's up? It's HOODX.com. Live. HOODX.com. It's your boy, K-Blao, HOODX. You already know what it is. Sign up for HOODX.com. Get your video aired. We national, we live. Ooh. Got the crown on, got the Thanos glove. HOODX on demand. Scroll through the videos, a whole bunch of videos on there. Figure out what you want to watch. Blow back, smoke, chill with your girl, make a booty call. You know what I'm saying? Do what you do. Sign up for HOODX.com. In the meanwhile, yeah, I'm about to go turn up. Let's get back to the video. Yeah, we back. It's HOODX Radio TV, HOODX On Demand, HOODX Television Network, HOODX everything, all HOODX. It's HOODX everything. Sign up. What? You ain't on HOODX? Look, if you ain't signed up for HOODX by now, I don't know what to tell you. Get your video played nationwide, get your song played internationally, get the Thanos glove. And I don't know if keep Thanos glove, you know what I'm saying, but everything else is cool, you know what I'm saying? So if you ain't signed up for HOODX by now, get in tune. We're gonna get back to the videos. HOODX, everything. Yeah. We live? Yes, sir. We back. HOODX Radio TV. HOODX On Demand. You got the time, space, the weed, look. Y'all know what this is for real? One of my fans sent this in, HOODX.com. You know what I'm saying? If anybody y'all got any fan mail, you know what I'm saying, you can hit me up. Sign up for HOODX.com, find me on there, K-Blao, HOODX. Send me any questions, any emails. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna read some emails. Are we gonna finally read some of the emails from the questions people got on the air? Is it still okay? They asked me not to tell y'all about that, but I'm gonna tell y'all anyway. We got some mail we gotta read online. It's coming soon. You know what I'm saying? So y'all stay tuned. Sign up for HOODX.com. If you got any questions, anything, hit me up. Find me on HOODX. Send me an email. They asked me not to hit on the microphone, but I don't care because I'm damn, I got the blood, man. Sign up for HOODX.com. Let's get back to the videos. HOODX On Demand. Yeah.
What up? It's your boy K-Blao, HOODX, back with another video for y'all. All of my siblings are water signs. You know what I'm saying? I put out a lot of content on this video shitting on water signs. You know what I'm saying? And if you ever want to know a big part of that, you look no further than my fucking siblings. You know what I'm saying? I love my siblings. Obviously, all brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want you to think that I'm out here like ranting like about how much I hate my brothers. I thought it's fucking sibling shit. It's like, if you got a brother or sister, you know exactly, you know, the feeling I'm trying to describe. But I do want to say that me as an air sign, like I'm an Aquarius, you know what I'm saying? I got a brother that's a Scorpio. I got a brother that's a Pisces. And I got a sister that's a Cancer. You know what I'm saying? And I also have a stepbrother who's Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? Which was fucking perfect for exactly what I needed to see as far as like lower Aquarius traits. You know what I'm saying? Now, imagine me having, you know what I'm saying, 3 water sign siblings and then a lower evolved Aquarius brother. And then none of them not even studying astrology. Like, these motherfuckers don't know. They think I'm crazy for studying astrology. You know what I'm saying? this is like, I just give you a snapshot, or it's like literally my life. You feel what I'm saying? The thing that's important to my brothers and sisters is not important to me at all. And like everything that's important to me is not important to the motherfuckers at all. It's insane. And then like me knowing that I have the exact dialogue, and that like I know, like if you follow my channel, you know that I have the dialogue, the communication available. You know what I'm saying? There, and they're like, okay, if I truly was to approach one of my siblings, the level of understanding is going to be there on my part. You follow what I'm saying? When I approach my younger brother, my older brother, when I approach my sister, me as an Aquarius walking this planet for as long as I've been walking it, I've learned, especially looking at my stepbrother who's Aquarius, I've learned that like, okay, wait, something is not right here. There's some type of failure of communication here. And then like I'm gonna actually try to figure out what it is and approach it from that standpoint instead of just guessing, you know, what the problem is, especially on the intrinsic basis. Like something's bigger happening, you know what I'm saying? It's something in the stars, something, just people is not the same. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna try to pay attention to detail and try to figure out, okay, like why are we failing to have a communication? Why is there a failure of communication? Me as Aquarius, unemotionally, emotionally unattached, emotionally detached. Knowing that I'm emotionally detached, realizing that I have to be more sensitive to my siblings' emotions. You're going to get that dialogue. Because they're water signs and they don't understand it, they don't even follow astrology, like they don't even, it's like a foreign fucking language to them. It's like somebody who watched Star Trek trying to talk to people who watch Star Trek. Like somebody who's a fucking banker trying to explain to somebody why they can't get their house approved. You know what I'm saying? They have literally no idea the keywords that's associated with Aquarius. Like I know, knowing it, like we're about thoughts, we're less emotional. Like they don't have this dialogue. They missing that whole fucking vocabulary that come along with studying astrology and the signs, and you know, they're not approaching me like this. You know what I'm saying? So like, this is why, you know what I'm saying, I was gonna put out a video, believe it or not, called Astrology is Bullshit. Because it was like, here's a fucking air sign who has 3 fucking water sign siblings who knows all this shit about astrology, and it don't mean shit to them. This is why I talk about the Cassandra complex a lot on my page, and like Cassandra, who was a psychic who knew the future, but nobody would listen to her. This is literally what it's like being an Aquarius and having water siblings. Because I can't, like, my siblings don't even come on this page, you know what I'm saying, and follow the videos to try to even understand, like, you know, why I think the way I think, why I do the things I do. It's like to them, I'm just fucking yelling shit on the internet. You know what I'm saying? It's like I said, the things that's important to me, they don't even care. It's like strictly fucking emotion. And as time continues to play out, you know what I'm saying, we're becoming more set in our ways, you know, and I'm putting out content like you know what I'm saying, like this is like a journal to me. You follow what I'm saying? So, and like I said, a lot of times in my life, I know I feel like I'm talking to you, I'm just talking to a fucking computer. There's nobody in this room. It's like a journal. So it says we're becoming more set in our ways, you know, and I'm putting out, you know, content. I look at myself, I look at it, I'll be like, okay, well, am I tweaking? You know, if I didn't have this journal, you know, what would I really, if I didn't study astrology and